players in a tiny apartment in Seoul that I visited. They didn't have these analysts. They didn't have sports psychologists. Grill opened up recently on his stream. They didn't even have money for air conditioning.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm sorry, Western teams. This is a team that made the World Finals under the most sort of adverse conditions possible with just a bare bones support staff. Play better, straight up.
Yeah, Monty. Red Renegades, play better.
Play better. That's what the Western teams need to do. We'll see if Fnatic can take that advice. We are into picks and bans for the Xiaogu Reapers taking on Fnatic. Malphite, Lissandra, Lulu out of the pool. Victor Nidalee, there goes the Nidalee debate that we've had earlier. But both Alistair and Brom were available until the last ban. Any surprises there for you, Crepo?
Kalista is open against Uzi. That's one surprise. And QG, after a solid 10 seconds, hasn't insta-locked it just yet. That's the second surprise.
Two surprises early, but yeah, we talked about the Braum and the Alistair coming in as major picks for QG.
They have to pick Kalista. There's no way around it.
Why? Why do you
so strong? I mean, if your support that ends up dying a lot because he gets caught and he can't play his two favorite champions, well, then save him, you know? Fates call him in, throw him back in. Let's use his corpse for CC or something.
A lot of options being thrown around. It will be the Braum as the last lock-in. So Kalista Gragas, Kalista something else
Kalista Corki
for Fnatic. Reckless has played a lot of Kalista and played good Kalista.
I don't get this at all. I mean, this Kalista and Corki being up as possible first picks on the red side is kind of mind-boggling. Spirit's going to go after the Gragas.
Feverin doesn't like playing it though, doesn't seem, and maybe just wants to get the counter pick. Maybe he's waiting to just pick LeBlanc into whatever Duembe is going to play and beat it with some CC jungle pressure, because like Gragas LeBlanc, Gragas Lissandra, that can dumpster any mid laner that Duembe plays.
I think though that if we come in here and we see a Corki Ezreal Braum composition, that's a huge setup for a poke and siege comp. Could also be Lucian Corki if they wanted to roll that way. So QG, they have a real opportunity, I think, here to take away a lot. Taking away that Lucian early is just unnecessary though, but they're going to do it.
Yeah, the Nautilus goes over. Fnatic, there was a case to be made for picking Kalista Nautilus on the first rotation too. Just put Gamsu on arguably the best tank right now. Just having split push. Let's see if Fnatic finally enables him to play something more carry-oriented into the Nautilus, because you can beat it.
Well, there's your carry.
There it is. There's top grade.
Oh yeah, because there's no more flex, because Gragas is already locked in.
Yep.
I predicted it.
So what do you think of Gamsu playing now this Graves as opposed to tanks traditionally?
This is what we wanted to see.
I like it.
This is what we wanted to see, was get him away from the tanks, open him up, at least try to have him play a more high-pressure game.
And this is, of course, a more forgiving carry top laner, because Graves becomes a quasi-tank with his build and true grit.
Oh, yeah. No, it's actually... And it's just a very simple play pattern, too. Push, push, poke, hit the tower, so it makes it very easy for the rest of Fnatic. What does my top laner do? Well, it's Graves, and he's going to AFK push. You can maybe dive. Nautilus is a little tricky, but you have a lot of damage, and you can whittle down a Nautilus. I'm not too familiar with the matchup because I've seen Cabochard. Usually when I study matchups, I look at what players do, and then I watch Cabochard. Okay, he plays Graves into Nautilus. Beats it convincingly. A good matchup. Game later, he plays Nautilus into Graves. I'm like, beats it convincingly. It's a good matchup. So yeah, I need some more sample size there.
Well, we do need to figure this out. Nautilus top, jungle Echo.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Is that where the expectation will be here for Swift?
Echo was buffed on this patch. His Time Winder does have a better clear now, a little bit more damage on that. So interesting, certainly not something we've seen in a while.
I wonder if he's running Storm Raiders on that, because I really like that on Echo. You go in for the burst and then you get the really surge of movement speed to get out again. And then you can really position creatively with the ultimate. It's also one of the pick, if you play that champion a lot better than your opponents, you will dictate the pace of these fights, because you can outplay people, because it's so rarely seen these days. It's like one of these niche picks that people are not used to playing against anymore. Kind of like when a Bard comes into the equation too, people just aren't really adapting to the pullback from the ultimate, from the Echo.
So it's a little bit of a surprise. Fnatic will have to figure out how they handle this. A little bit of Echo experience is there for both Febiv and Reckless, as we saw that actually last year in Fnatic's hands. Echo's Q cooldown was reduced on that Time Winder. So
that was the buff. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah,
see how it works out in Swift's hands. And the last lock-in here for Fnatic is the Ahri. So a slightly different flavor team composition that we're seeing from Fnatic. Maybe a little bit more in line with something that DeFisher was talking about, some more early aggression, slightly stronger laning champions. What's your take on this, Monty?
Yeah, I like seeing this, but that said, they're not going to have a lot of late game answers to this split push. I have no idea what to think about this jungle Echo right now. Obviously, he's going to be very elusive with the speed boost from the Runic Echoes, and he's probably going to be doing a lot of damage, but I'm really looking forward to seeing Swift, who's a very mechanical player, take this jungler.
They have 2 tanks, though, to play around, so they can build him like really very, very heavy damage oriented.
Yeah.
What worries me is that I think QG needs to lane swap, and that worries me very, very much so. Because whenever I look at the draft, I'm like, okay, what lanes win? I think Zed and LeBlanc, Zed and Ahri rather has to go even with a slight edge to Ahri early because of the push. Then Kalista Thresh will beat any melee support, especially Lucian Braum, unless they kind of lose an all-in, but they have exhaust to prevent that, so that lane wins. Graves will have the push advantage, generally. An early gank from Gragas, so...
Hold that thought for me, gentlemen. Give me your predictions with a final thought as we head to the caster desk. Monty.
I'm actually going to take Fnatic here. I think Crepo's right. If they play standard lanes, they're in losing lanes, and they're bad at lane swapping, so I think Fnatic's got it.
Crepo?
See, that was my initial suspicion. I think Fnatic will get it in the early and then throw it in a team fight or something.
Throw it in the team fight. Fnatic and QG were split on the analyst desk. It's time to head over to the shoutcasters to take us into game.
Thank you very much, guys. I am joined by the man that gives out advice on stream. We'll see what pearls of wisdom he will offer today. But Deficio, what do you make of the pick and ban phase? Pretty exciting and aggressive for me.
Yeah, some surprises. We don't often see like a Zed being blind picked, Echo jungle coming in. Was buffed, yes, in this patch, mainly just in the early game. 2 seconds shorter cooldown on the Q. Rank 5, it's still 7 seconds. That hasn't changed anything, so his late game is not better because of it. I think Fnatic, though, got a very, very strong pick and ban phase.
You were excited about this.
Oh,
I like
it.
This is what I want to see. This is what I want to see.
Yeah, this is what we talked about earlier, how when Fnatic plays these super scaling comps, they fall really far behind early game and have to like team fight their way out. Have been able to win a few games against weaker teams, and then also G2, who couldn't close out the game at all. QG wants you to play late game, so I like the change.
Fight as well.
Exactly, so I really like this change here. Super strong 2v2 lane. I think Reckless and Cly is a better 2v2 lane than More, what he can offer at least. Uzi, of course, is fantastic, but this lane is super strong. Kalista Thresh. Ahri into Zed. Ahri will struggle a little bit in the early game. Zed can be a bit of a bully. Get your arm guards, get some armor on the way, get a fairly early hourglass, and you can actually hold the Zed in a split push very effectively. So I like this pick and ban phase from Fnatic.
Well, both teams saying they are ready. Swift has resumed the game, so we'll be back underway, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Second game of the day. We've already seen SK Telecom T1 taking down Counter Logic Gaming in the first game. So the winner will be facing SKT, and the loser up against CLG. Fnatic, Calgary Reapers, who is going to take it?
It's going to be a tough one, honestly. Coming into this tournament, I felt like QG would be the better team. But looking at the pick and ban phase, I really, really like what Fnatic has been building. And QG is a team, together with RNG, who does have sometimes a little bit weird pick and ban phases, different priorities for some of these LPL teams. Doing B in the mid lane, he's super, super, super aggressive in the way he's playing. If he doesn't have Swift around him, he can get ganked so easily because he will jump in your face when you don't expect it.
Yeah, well, with an Echo, that's going to be a very aggressive partnership. Expect to see Doinb helping out with Swift diving in. Something for Bivens going to have to be very careful, because almost certainly will be the target, trying to blow that flash early on.
Yeah, it's a super good point. QG likes to play around mid lane a lot because they have a super aggressive mid laner who wins his lane by surprising you in a lot of trades. And then also play around bottom lane. Because either you have Pekko, who is a fine laner, or you have Uzi, who is a fantastic laner and wants to win lane to kind of snowball. So it's a bit of a change from QG as well. It's not like super late game focused on their side, because you have the Zed in there, Lucian as well, without a whole lot of buffs around him. We should have a very impactful, a very exciting mid game.
What about this Graves versus Nautilus in the top lane? You were talking about how he's potentially going to bully him a little bit early, get that aggression in there. Can we see Gamsu turn up, deliver the performance that he gave in the very first week of the EU LCS?
Yeah, so this matchup, Nautilus early game has super good base damage on his E. Oh, let's see what happens around red buff Lee.
Oh, at the moment, more.
They're fighting Red Buff and each other.
Why not? Go straight for it. Uzi's getting the damage down. It's Fnatic. They're going to have to tank it out here, and they're not backing away from this one. As you'd expect, the Chinese, they want to get aggressive. They could go aggressive. They get the stun down on Gamsu. Uzi continuing to put the damage down. They finally have to respect it, and that was a great invade from Xiaogu. That forces Fnatic out from their own red buff. Spirit is going to be hurting from that.
We had Fnatic do exactly the same play on the bottom side, though. Reckless and Clyde were invading in on the red buff. Didn't manage to stop it, though. Swift picked up the red buff. He's now going to get a second one because they managed to pull him away. And notice the way Uzi was dancing there. He was never in range of the red buff itself to take damage from it. Just always out of range. So he was hitting one member. Red buff was hitting the other one, making sure QG could force them away. And now we just straight into the lane swap. And Fnatic is very early on the tower. So this is more important than taking the red buff. Taking red buff doesn't have a whole lot of value because you're not ganking in a lane swap anyway. And you get more experience from the camps now. It's about how fast you get to tower, and QG is extremely bad at realizing what tempo means in lane swaps. Well, if you're behind in swaps, you often end up losing more and more and more, and it snowballs out of control.
It looks like they might have been listening, because with 4 people, that generally takes down the tower quicker than 3.
Yes, and that's a super good adaptation. If you are behind on the lane swap, it's normally 3 versus the tower and 1 guy farming, the jungler just farming. If you're behind, pull in your jungler. Yes, he will sacrifice a camp, but you take down the tower so much faster. So good adaptation by QG.
Well, these towers look like they're going to fall pretty much at the same time. Both Fnatic and Xiaogu will get it. But obviously, while this has all been happening, Spirit has been off farming alone as we get a pause in once again. Well, okay.
Fly instant leaving the game.
Doesn't look like it's Fnatic.
Well, Clyde just left the game.
Dropped the game, yeah, okay. So it must be Clyde's PC. Yeah, you can see Dave, the admin down the end there, is like, yeah, my PC's kind of like bombed out. It's not in the game right now. Dave's like, yeah, you know.
I think he's just surprised that QG actually understood a lane swap. He's like, hold on. We're playing the wrong team here.
This is their way of doing a tactical timeout. It's
pause.
just like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Like, that's actually super smart. This is, like, when I talked to a lot of the LPL casters, they were kind of highlighting QG's way of lane swapping was often focused on take a tower and then try and freeze a lane, which is not very good, and they didn't like it. It was something like just QG was doing on their own. Instead of adapting to a lot of the swaps, this is such a good change. Pull your jungler in to fast push that tower because you're already behind, and you catch up and they actually take down the tower exactly the same time, or almost the same time. We're talking like 2 seconds.
Yeah, we're back in the game, guys. Both towers just fell down. There you go. V taking the top one. So let's see how they do this lane swap. Let's see how it works out, because you can see V, he's holding that line.
Yeah, basically you want to bounce the wave, so start pushing towards you, and you can pick up some farm as these top laners here who often get denied. Fnatic, though, when they play Kalista, they like to force 2v2 lanes. So they don't do what we normally see. Normally you would send your 80 carry support to top side and push out their wave against Nautilus and deny him farm and take another tower. They like to put Kalista towards the bottom side of the map, and then have their support ward for their top laner who's gonna walk into this lane up top here that's pushing away. So they're sacrificing Gamsu to give Reckless and Clyde a 2v2 lane and use Kalista Thresh for what they do well, which is laning. So you can see Clyde in your minimap, he's been warding up on top side, a pink ward near the red buff, and then a ward here in the river. That means Gamsu can now push out and take this wave that's pushing away from him on top side, and he can spot a potential gank. I'm not sure I like it too much, but it puts so much focus on getting 2v2 lane. They're behind in experience, though. Reckless and Clyde only level 2, so they have to wait for this wave. You can see Reckless is not showing himself. He's just hiding and also doing Grump together with Spirit, waiting for the wave to be pushed up. Now Gamsu's going to show top, and suddenly Fnatic are putting everything on this 2v2 lane.
A lot of pressure. Let's see if they can deliver. Reckless, superstar in the past. He made his name way back at IPL 5 against the old Chinese team WE. Back then it was World Elite. That was the original World Elite. Very different team, of course, these days, but that's when he was a young prodigy, just 15 years old. Uzi, you could argue, has took the same path over in China. Very much similarities between the two.
And Uzi really wants to get a rematch versus Faker in the next game. I mean, twice.
Well, this is Uzi's chance, because he's not been having the best of times over in the LPL. This is his chance to shine. He's going to try and take this full on. Obviously, Pico is here, so he's not the only one that's been brought along. Pico is here, but clearly he's been given the opportunity here. He didn't get Kalista, but he is on Lucian.
And that's the thing. Uzi has been the sub for this lineup here, because he's more of a lane bully, and QG is more of a late game focused team, not often putting all the eggs into the early game. In this game, they are putting a lot of focus on early game, picking that Lucian, getting the Zed in mid lane as a blind pick. We see that early arm guard we talked about. Reckless taking some damage.
Great combo straight away there, getting the stun down. They will put him in, but here comes the danger. Reckless is in trouble. Doinb dives on towards it, takes the initial tower hits, and juggles it beautifully for Uzi to pick up first blood.
And all this, again, it comes from the lane swap. Remember, Fnatic were also invading in on that red buff before walking down to the bottom lane, then fast pushing tower and recalling with Reckless. So he barely picked up any experience on his own. So he's only level 3 to level 4 or 5 now of Uzi. So you're going to get pushed into tower. QG then says, we have a Zed in mid lane who can early push on Ahri. That means we can roam. Doinb roams to bot lane, dives in with the Echo, picks up first blood. Great early play from QG, and a lot more aggressive in the early game compared to what we normally see over in the LPL, where they're waiting for mistakes from the other team. They are proactive now, understanding how they had an advantage in the bottom lane. And this is also Fnatic putting so much focus on getting a 2v2 lane, despite being behind in experience.
How are they going to adapt? Xiaogu bite first.
Yeah, for now there's barely anything Fnatic can do, because you can't really dive Nautilus.
You were just about talking about Nautilus. There is a big differential in terms of farm between him and Gamsu. Gamsu, you can see, sticking out, keeping the pressure on towards VV is just about keeping him at bay, but there is that big gap forming, as well as this gap in the mid lane for Bivin. Build up quite an advantage, of course. That's because Doinb just went away to go get that gank. That's where that difference comes, and well, the assist kind of makes up for it.
And I personally think this matchup actually gets better and better for Febivin. Now he has early armor, he can get the hourglass.
Right.
When Zed ultis onto you, he will always appear behind you. You just put your charm straight behind you. He can't jump back in time because there's a 0.5 second delay on his jump back with ulti, and you can actually charm him. And then you can combo him, and you have hourglass to survive the damage after. And we also see Fnatic put full focus on top side of them, if you look at the wards, just to allow Gamsu to play aggressive. He's the man right now who is to push in, take that tower, just slowly chip it down, because Fnatic will be losing the bottom side of the map, and they might get dove one more time if Doinb can roam.
Well, Spirit did just get his very first red buff, so that's back on the table for him. There was a lot of pings from Xiaogu, and a continuing to ping on the blue buff of Fnatic. Now, they've been pinging on this for a while. Everybody's just been back to buy, so this is now Xiaogu's time, possibly. They've all just stacked out those items to maybe start going aggressive.
This meta is all about understanding where's your strong lane, which side of the map is it on. Okay, that's where we play. Strong lane for QG is the bottom side, because Uzi is ahead of Reckless. That means you can start invading on enemy blue buffs. You also have a non-mana user in the mid lane against a mana user. So getting that blue buff makes it a lot easier for Zed to play this lane and not risk getting poked and poked and poked and forced out.
They just spotted out Swift at the top lane. Gamsu saw him. They did have a ping ward there, and immediately has triggered Spirit going straight down. They were looking at a bit of a wraparound, and immediately Uzi and Moore did react. They backed away from that one.
And I don't like Swift going top lane here at all, because it's been completely warded by Fnatic. QG saw the move in there earlier, and by him showing top, it actually allows Fnatic now to invade and get wards on the bottom side, and it forces Uzi to back away. Febivin also knows where the jungler is, so he can go aggressive on tower, and look how he's just staying towards bottom side, because he knows his jungler is there, enemy jungler is not. So I really do not like Swift showing top side here, because there's no chance of him actually ganking Gamsu at this point.
They're trying to react to it.
Oh, Clyde,
he's been caught completely in no man's land here. He's got no support. He's going to be an easy pickup for Uzi here. There we go. That's not what you want to do. You do not want to feed. That was a teleport just came in from V onto blue buff.
I think V was expecting a potential fight, trying to save Clyde. Spirit is caught behind enemy lines.
He is way out of position. This is just deep, deep stuff. That ulti, let's see if he can get away from it. Doesn't get the stun, but there is enough of a slow coming down on him.
He's out.
He's going to get out. Yeah, there's nobody to stop him above. And the teleport's already just been used.
And now Gamsu can push really hard for this tower. Febivin just has to escape this gank from V.
The hook, no problem. Just uses the ulti. Rushes away from it. Will clear out the pink ward as well. So, okay, let's see what opportunities this is potentially opened up. Reckless, of course, had a bit of free time down the bottom there, but now this is going to be another turret going Xiaogu's way. That will even things up 2 for 2. But they have those 2 important kills on Uzi. And, you know, we found out many, many times this 2 times finalist in the World Championships is a man you don't want to give an advantage to.
No.
Just he will absolutely rip your arm off, as the old adage goes.
If QG can win the early game, they will be even stronger in the late game than they already are. They're normally fighting like 5k gold behind and winning team fights anyway. Give them an early lead, especially to the AD carry, who has been struggling quite a bit in the LPL. I mean, Uzi is here to show something. He wants to win that spot. He also wants to move on, face Faker in the next match, and then go into the semi-final. So he's off to a perfect start.
Big difference, of course, is that it is a double AD carry. Gamsu has got a little bit of an advantage building over V, but they're going to be playing very different roles come the team fights. But this turret in the mid lane, barely touched. Doing B not really had a lot of help there, and Reckless, Forbidden, sorry, taking down that turret with ease. The hook doesn't land, and this invade is going to give Xiaogu all the control of this top lane, which you can see they're building up towards.
I like the play again. They understand that Reckless is freezing the bottom lane. He's no threat to any tier 2 tower because he's so far away from the lane. Instantly, you just rotate top. You had a wave coming. If Fnatic can wave clear, then they can buy a lot of time for Reckless. If not, tower goes down. For now, they did defend it. Another wave coming, and this means Reckless can catch up and farm, because right now Uzi is not farming. He's running between lanes with his team, holding hands, talking about the good old days, most likely, and Reckless is just farming up on his own.
Well, not so sure about those good old days anymore, sadly. They've got a lot to prove. Rift Herald going to get picked up by Xiaogu. While this is all happening, Reckless is having a whale of a time down that bottom. He's got that ward coverage in the river, but dare not push too much further. They have knowledge. They haven't got this Rift Herald just yet. Spirit's going to come in. Doesn't manage to get the steal, but now Swift's in trouble. Tries to rewind away. Forbidden comes in. That exhaust is going to run out, but Uzi's putting the damage down. He's going to get the knockoff, and Uzi will get himself a third kill. Now, could he follow through? Well, is he going to feel aggressive? You're damn right he is, because V manages to land the ulti. Spirit gets caught out, and Doing B gets a kill as well. 4-0 to Xiaogu Reapers.
Fnatic feeling they have to try and fight for this Rift Herald, despite Gamsu being on the other side of the wall. He couldn't really join, trying to just catch one target after taking some damage. Remember, Reckless was farming bot lane, had just recalled. He would never even get close to this fight. So greedy approach from Fnatic, getting punished. Might get something on V. Hook misses again. Kly's not really been performing this game, being caught out as well once. And Fnatic here just going a little bit too eager for a few kills. Let's see the situation again. So they want to try and see if they can steal this Rift Herald. That's ulti used by Gamsu, and most of the damage from February onto more, because he's blocking very beautifully here, all the damage. And then Uzi's there. Look at your minimap. Reckless is in base. Kly's running from base as well. This was a 3v5 from Fnatic to try and stop a Rift Herald.
Yeah, that seemed like a bit of a desperate play there. Top turret will go down. Consequence of backing away and buying items and just chugging up that gold. Finish it off, Gamsu. There's a good lad. Don't let it get away from you. We've seen that happen in the past. But it does only equate to an 800 gold differential. Well, make that 1200 now, because they've just got to
Yeah, but 4 kills, 3 of them on Uzi. Super strong mid game coming in from QG. Put the Zed in your side lane, put Uzi in mid lane to put pressure. He has a lot better wave clear than a Kalista has. So he can actually fast push in the lane, and then he can leave the lane. His support can leave, his jungler can leave, and start going to side lanes and just apply pressure across the map, because you're pushing first in mid. Because Febivan has to go and follow Zed. Febivan is the only man who can deal with the Zed. So he has to follow him around at this point, which means you lose that wave clear. Kalista doesn't really offer it. She can hit the minions and take them down after time, but she can't really defend. And Doomby takes some damage.
Lands the hook, but doesn't have enough to follow it through. QG, plenty of support coming up there. Gonna keep my eye on all these swiftness boots. I start to clock in. We've already got 4 of them on the map. It is kind of the thing to do these days. I think it was Eva that had
5 of them.
5 swiftness boots yesterday, yeah. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. But as it is, Fnatic, as expected pre-game before the pick and bans, in trouble. I mean, we knew they were up against it here, against the Chinese. RNG clearly showed up very well yesterday, and immediately that put doubts into everyone's mind about how Fnatic would fare against QG.
Yeah, I think a lot of it also comes down to maybe Fnatic tunnel vision a little bit too much on getting that 2v2 lane with Reckless and Kly after the lane swap, despite being behind. Yes, okay, Gamsu could win his top lane, but it's a lot harder to deal with the 2 members pushing bot side and also support then invading into your jungle, setting up these tower dives. Gamsu is ahead though, and Graves will become fairly tanky. Obviously goes for Sterix and more, and all these bruiser items that makes it so hard for an assassin like Zed to kill anything, not the Maw, but the Sterix. And also Reckless can go for a third item QSS to stop the Z ulti, and then you run out of targets because Hourglass will come in from Febiven.
And that appears to be what Fnatic are reading into this. They basically just said, okay, Gamsu's ahead, way ahead. Let's just keep him off on his own, keep him split push farming. Obviously,
every time. Reckless once again at his tower.
Okay, well, Gamsu just shoved that top wave. Let's see if they can do anything about this one. Chagu, they have got the teleport on V. Should they require it, he's just going to have to
please.
Keep a hold of that. Spirit, going to get caught out there.
Gets the ward in his face. Kills it out one more time. We're pushing mid lane for QG over and over and over. That's always step one. Step two then is either go into jungle, put wards, or chip some damage on this tower. Get a few hits every time while your support moves in, and you can just keep the pressure going. Because you don't need to win the game in 3 minutes. Like, you can do this for another 5 minutes, and you will get that mid tower, opening up the map. And Fnatic has very few plays they can make other than trying to outplay you. QG mechanically are very, very gifted players. So those outplays from Fnatic has to come as a team, not one by one by one.
We'll see. At the moment, situation normal, it would appear, and it's very static. Okay, now Fnatic. Now be careful now. This is the Rift Herald being started up again. We saw what happened last time. They are slowly shifting into position. You can see Clyde coming across, but he's going to be a little too late. They have the vision of it. And that will, of course, be picked up by Chaogu. So advantage continuing to go in favor of the Chinese team. Second Rift Herald picked up.
And we're back in the side lanes. But with the Rift Herald being spotted, and so far only side lanes being pushed up, Febiven did have a chance if he wanted to go for an outplay, but also just to ward defensively one more time. Because he's just trying to wait for the opening. Where he sees a chance, he can try and jump in. If he kills the Z, you break the split push completely. You break the 1-3-1, and then Fnatic can move forward. Put pressure on towers. Maybe take a dragon, so it doesn't start having this situation where dragons just keep coming into QG, and then you get 5 dragons at some point if the game keeps going on and on. So
while we got a little bit of a stalemate, we might as well, you know, continue on with life advice.
Please.
You got nothing to offer the crowd today? I mean,
felt like we taught them enough yesterday.
Okay. So what was yesterday? What was the education lesson?
Lee.
What were we going along the lines of?
Well,
put you on the spot here.
It's on Reddit. You can just go and watch it one more time if you want to see it. I don't think...
Safety first.
Safety first.
Safety first.
That's the point, and that's actually what Fnatic is trying to do with all these defensive works here. Safety first.
Do you keep your flash on D?
I personally keep it on F, just again to break your little conversation here.
I'm a D person.
Are you? You like the D?
I like the flash on D. Oh, Febiven's gonna have to use that flash to try and get away.
Dead.
He's popped, he's dead. No escape. Spirit Rush was not gonna save him.
And this is basically what QG were waiting for, constantly. Get into that jungle. Febiven finally oversteps almost. Doesn't have Hourglass yet, so he can actually get popped. Goes down, and now suddenly the 1-3-1 is paying off for QG, and they haven't really been under pressure at all. This is just slowly playing it out correct. No mistakes being done by QG at the moment.
And this is a problem. But there is a gigantic gulf building for Gamsu. He is just going to continue spiraling out of control if they don't start to deal with him. But with Doinby and Uzi playing the way they are, they have the advantage still in their favor. You see Gamsu come along. He's the gatekeeper right now, effectively. But the problem is, he's a squishy target. And we could easily see, you know, the Swift and Doinby combo just piling straight on. So it's like, okay, this guy's fair. Let's get him.
You can do it as long as the defensive items are not completed. Like, that's basically what Fnatic is waiting for. That's why they're not trying to make any plays at all. So that's why we have this fairly slow-paced mid-game, where it's all about QG applying pressure, taking every objective they can, dragons. If you can get some damage on tower, take jungle camps away, you go for it. They actually mistimed this blue buff. They even had a pink ward placed on it. And then they recalled and went back in time for blue buff to spawn. So that's a mistake by QG. Gives some gold to Febiven, gives more mana as well for him to push it out, and obviously you don't want to give him any advantage.
Well, pressure on the mid lane. Don't think we're going to be able to keep them away from this too long. You can see Spirit having to use that ulti. Actually landed it very well on Uzi.
Good combo.
Dispersed him in a good position, and if Cly had been just a little bit closer, could have maybe followed it up with something, but as it is. Fnatic, that's a good job. Bearing in mind the Dragon has just respawned to send the AD carry back. Gives them a chance.
Outlast completed for Febiven. Missing Hurricane, then QSS from Reckless, and then Fnatic might say, now we are ready to fight. Really good play by Spirit, putting in the barrel, it charges up, then he knocks Uzi into it with his ulti, and by, as you said, by poking him down, you slow down QG, because now he's forced to base, and it's all that matters, just get them into base. Don't let them take your mid tower, don't let them take your bot tower. Febiven will be more than fine now with Outlast completed.
The pink ward battle continues.
We're gonna get action, don't worry. It's gonna like, give it 5 more minutes and we're gonna get big fights.
So good. Well, there's the Dragon. We'll see whether Fnatic
they're gonna give it up.
Yeah, there's no way they can get close to this one.
You need Reckless ready to fight.
So second one goes across to them. Gamsu did try and apply the pressure in that top lane on V, but wisely steps away as the Dragon is collected. Now it's just going to rotate down the river and see if they can get themselves anything. Not a lot of vision in that river right now, either for Fnatic. We know that Xiaogu like to go for these early Barons. We'll see whether they fancy it, maybe try and quicken the pace of the game.
Yeah, I think they should have. Not Baron specifically.
Not just yet.
But force tower dives almost, because you've been able to push bot lane every time and move into the jungle first. Go towards mid lane and pressure it with 5 members.
And you've got an Echo and Zed. That's like perfect to tower dive.
So you
in and out instantly.
Push your side lanes and then move Nautilus and Zed towards the mid lane, because that forces Fnatic to then step away from mid lane, wait for them to clear the side lanes before they can do anything, and then you get more damage on mid tower. QG is just playing it like they're doing the first few steps. The last step that actually gives them this mid tower opens up the map even more. They haven't been able to complete yet because they are not accepting the fact they can't just push 3v3 in mid. They have to apply pressure from sides, move into mid, force Fnatic to step back or dive them if they stay, and then you can take mid tower. Obviously, again, we're far enough into the game that you can start baiting the Baron and then potentially get a team fight there.
Well, we've switched into this interesting situation where the mid laners have all to do they're up against. We can see Forbiven's in the top lane. V was down there. He's just going to join the rest of his team while the pressure gets forced on. That means Gamsu is off the side against Doinb. Now, will he fancy going for the challenge? I doubt it.
The reason they can put him there is because he has Sterix completed. Yep. Gives him enough HP coming with the shield to probably survive the burst from his Zed. I wonder though, if it's a good combo, I want to see if they can actually break through it. I don't think so, and that's why Fnatic are fine putting Gamsu here. Problem is you don't have TP versus TP for QG. You want actually V on bottom side now, so you can bait a Baron and he can always TP in. If he's on top side, that bait is kind of gone because your Zed is sitting bot lane. He can never really join, so Fnatic knows they're not starting Baron. So they actually have to swap the lanes around at this point.
Fnatic are winning the swiftness race right now. 4v3.
Ah, well done.
Stacked in there, just waiting to see what the final conversion will be for Forbiven. Hanging on for quite a while, actually, before getting his tier 2 boots as a mid laner.
It's fine.
He has got the his ulti to just dash out, although it didn't work out the last time.
And also, Outlast is such an expensive second item. Yeah. You don't want to buy the boots, spend like 800 gold on that, and then wait for Outlast even longer, because it's such an important one. Reckless got his Hurricane. Boys, we are waiting for the QSS coming in. Next time he goes back, but he needs like about 1,000 gold more.
Clyde just going to get out of the stun in time. Swift looking to try and create an opportunity there.
Good for mid lane, though.
They realize something is up here. They're grouping for it. They're going to get in defensive position. They realize that Xiaogu clearly looking to try and make a play here. They don't have V with them. And as mentioned, he has got that teleport anytime he wants to get down there.
Yeah, he needs to be bot side. You want to have the threat of rushing in at a Baron, because you got 4 pink wards in the river near the Baron. It's just gone when V is sitting on top side.
Well, they've gone back to standard positions. Gamsu back against Doinb.
So mid lane tower must go down soon. I mean, come on, what are you guys doing?
Just use his ulti there, actually, to push onto that. Just use his ulti to clear the wave and shove them all back and then just get those last couple of shots. So, mid turret finally down. That opens up the map a fair amount for Xiaogu. They have got far better ward coverage than Fnatic. They are finally getting their timing right. They will be stealing away the blue buff. It's going to cause Forbiven a few problems, a few lesser cooldowns. A little bit less mana, but he doesn't really worry about the mana. So V...
They should force a fight soon, though, Lee. I'm promising you we're going to get a fight soon. Problem is, in this meta, once we get into late game, or sorry, mid game, and like, you know, early late game, levels go up, death timers are so long. So like one lost fight can basically lose you the entire game at this point, especially if you're Fnatic because you push so far back.
TSM learned that yesterday.
Yes, exactly.
That's something Fnatic don't want to fall for. I mean, Fnatic right now, they're basically in don't make a mistake mode. Just play it safe, play it careful, play it a little bit more aggressive there. Yeah, Gamsu feeling far more confident now he's got that QSS complete. No fear of Doinby anymore.
And I think Fnatic can start playing more aggressive. Again, we're waiting for Reckless with the QSS, but because Zed is sitting bottom lane and you have TP there against him, you can actually walk into the river and start clearing out these pink wards. Because if QG wants to fight you, Zed has to leave the bot lane and start running there, and then you can just back away. If he stays, you take the fight and you TP in, and it's a 5 versus 4, and you sacrifice the tower, but you get a big team fight, which can result in more kills. Because right now, you're just so far back on the map. But again, they're just waiting for these items. And there we go, QSS for Reckless. Fnatic is saying, it's time to start playing the game.
Let's see how that handles. Gamsu just trying to get himself a Krug. No, to tell a lie, he was down at the Gromp. Pink ward on Swift's face. Swift did just take a quick burst from Forbidden, and finally, a group in. They're looking for some action.
The last 10 minutes, Fnatic has been standing towards their own side of the base. They haven't even crossed the river. What happens? Instant items are there. Pink wards getting killed.
QSS, yeah, in place.
Doinby is on bottom side though. Gamsu should be there to just challenge him, and he will. He's on his way. And then now we have this point where Fnatic are feeling like they can actually fight.
Stutterceps from V, but Gamsu down to challenge him. Immediately will force him away. Feels, has he got tanky enough to deal with him? Well, he's going to have support if he needs it. And maybe a 4-man dive on towards Gamsu would certainly quicken things up. But the Dragon control very much in the hands of the Chinese. And this will be the third stack now. Starting to become a little risky for Fnatic.
Yeah, still you only gotta get one Dragon to kind of break this 5-Dragon streak coming in from QG, and the next one should be where Fnatic are ready to fight. I've said that probably 10 times now. But that's a recall, pick up a few more items, and now you're back on the map. You're still behind though. I mean, that's the thing. You might be stronger right now, but you are still behind, and Uzi is on 3 kills.
Max range ulti from Uzi, just catching Reckless, but he'll just lifesteal that all back, no problems there. Ping wall battle continues. Doinby getting a little bit more poke onto Spirit, just trying to catch somebody out of position, but nobody falling for it. Fnatic been very disciplined, honestly, over the last 10 minutes, not to get caught out of position. We saw it yesterday, just how brutal it can be, even with a big advantage. And this is not a big advantage. This is just a what, 2.5, 3K gold differential between the two teams. We saw much bigger differences turned over yesterday by just a simple catch of one player at the right time.
And just small things happening on the map. Febiven pushes out top lane. That means his team can rotate mid because a non-teleport user has to go clear out the wave and they can push in mid. And it's just super small things that give you like 1 or 2 extra wards, which can then lead into 1 or 2 extra kills, potentially if you catch someone out or if you know you can take a fight because you have full vision. So it's super, super small things. Obviously not always very interesting to watch because it's so slow paced, but it is just the correct way to play it, because you can't just start rushing 5-man into mid lane. Then you just open up to getting flanked and then you die.
Well, I mean, if you look at Chinese teams of the past,
they have tried.
They have tried this.
And then QG has killed them.
Sometimes succeeded. Not so often, though, but Swiftness boots, all even now. It's all good. It's my own little mini-game going on there. 4v4.
Uzi breaking it, wants the cooldown reduction build on Lucian.
And, of course, Force Boots for Forbidden. You'd expect that. He needs that penetration, after all. So, 30 minutes gone. 5 kills in this game so far. Definitely slowing the pace down after the early aggression. It was needed though. Fnatic started to fall behind. They still are. But they are still just at 3 towers apiece. Nobody pressuring for those tier 2 turrets yet. Nobody's really even attempted to go for these tier 2 turrets yet. They have literally stared back and forth at one of each other. But the banner of command coming into action now from V, just trying to keep
nothing
Gamsu
against Graves
on pressure. Yeah, he's just going to keep on popping that.
Good item if he's against Febiven, but he won't be. So, Cly, can he land a hook?
Yes, he can. Doinby caught out. QSS used immediately. They try to go aggressive, but look at the damage they get down. They try and catch on towards him. Doinby finally caught out the exhaust. He turns
nice charm
towards Clyde. Doinby will catch him out. The charm was perfect, and Clyde actually lives as well. Gets through the pop. It did give the tier 2 turret, though, to Xiaogu, and that no matter what you say, is a much bigger objective.
Fnatic could rush Baron now to force a fight potentially because there's still 40 seconds on the Z. Push down this mid lane here, wait for your members to show up. Yes, Ari doesn't have ulti, but you want to take a fight now, 5 versus 4, and you want to make up for the fact you just lost a bot tower. At least clear out the pink wards in the river, so you gain something from this. I still think they can actually start it. They should just start Baron here, in my opinion, and take the team fight.
Well, Reckless is busy.
Well, they played super safe.
He went for the Grom, and they did play super safe. They didn't even clear out the pink wards. Clyde just held defensive posture. And Jaguar were totally ready for that. They were already moving into position.
Yeah.
They were expecting it. And probably...
But you wanted them to, because you wanted to just disengage from Baron after and then take the fight onto them. Still TP and Gamsu. This means you actually didn't gain anything. You got a kill, but you lost bot tower.
Yeah, you actually lost.
Yeah, you lost golden. The only thing you got was the summoners of the Z, so he has to be careful. And that's about it. So Fnatic can push up one more time. It's going to be around Baron. They have to set up fights. When you have Kalista, other team sleeps for 5 seconds, Baron is dead.
But hey, Fnatic got a kill.
They got a kill.
That's something.
First kill.
Something. It took, what, 2 ultis? I think it was, yeah. 2 ultis, Kalistas and Forbivens.
Sick charm though by Forbiven when he saw the Z ulti. Saved Cly. And now QG, once again, is in control. Z should not be able to actually push up bot lane. If he does, he should get killed.
In controls on the main stage right now doing StarCraft.
Is he? Let's call him in.
Jeff.
How about QG being in control?
He'll know all about that, I'm sure. But as it is, not a great deal happening here, boys. This is a bit of a quiet one, bit of a League of Legends and chill type affair going on.
Yeah, we're supposed to be more aggressive, honestly, in the early to mid game. I feel like we lied to all the viewers. Instead,
kind of lacking the chill part because there's just nothing to get excited about. No sexy time going on here, that's for sure.
Killing a lot of minions and wards. That's been about it for this game.
Well, we're seeing people approaching the 400 CS mark. And that's when you know we're going to be going the distance here. It is going to be Uzi that will hit it first, no doubt about it. 386 CS. Soon
we will get a fight because Dragon is spawning in 30 seconds.
I'm starting to disbelieve you because you said this about 20 minutes ago.
I mean, we have to get a fight at some point when 5 Dragons are coming in for QG. Fnatic has to do something. They're putting them at their top laners on top side because they want to fight for Dragon now. So Fnatic are ready to fight. There's no flash on the Z. You have QSS, you have Outlast. Like, this is literally your best time to fight now.
And look at their positioning. They're all starting to take control of the river. They want this Dragon this time around. And Xiaogu realize it. There's going to be Gamsu. He's back into base, going to make sure he gets that last item before he TPs in as required. Looks like V wants to try and interrupt him, no. But he was spotted going back, so V
Fnatic has to fight.
Won't go for it. They have to force the way in here. Okay, Dragon started off. Here comes the teleport. Gamsu teleporting in. And Xiaogu immediately back away. Tried to get a flank from V there. That's a good ulti coming out from Uzi. They're going to catch on towards them. That's going to be Spirit called out. Reckless pulled out of the danger, but the damage is coming out from Xiaogu. They are absolutely wrecking Fnatic in this one. They're still clumped up, and that is a perfect situation. Doinby, though, goes down. Gamsu hasn't quite got enough flashes out there. Forbiven tries to get around the back line. Forbiven can get himself a double. It's going to go to Reckless. He gets around the side. Gets him down to 2v2. V very low. Uzi just trying to keep them away. There's this big danger from Uzi. He's going to get himself back life-stealed up. But we go for a 3-for-3 in the end. Nobody gets close to taking Dragon.
That's good. That's more fighting.
Yeah, it's very good. I'm excited.
So basically, this almost looked super, super bad for Fnatic at first because the entire engage is onto V. He TPs in here, setting up a potential flank, then realizing he can't because Fnatic is backing away. So all they're doing now is hitting him, and then they engage from QG at the same time. Super good coordination in, forcing QSS from Reckless and getting a lot of damage at the same time. And then in this little choke point here, you're just fighting them. Febron hasn't been able to do enough yet. Jumps in with the last charge, pop the hourglass. Gamzu's able to hit, and Reckless is killing the Grump at the same time, also to lifesteal back. And this jump from Febron is so key, picking up 2 kills, or part of 2 kills. And it's a 2-for-2. No one has gotten the Dragon, remember? Everyone is now back alive once we get our replay.
And the position advantage, you can see Reckless playing it. There's Fnatic picking up the Dragon. Don't think Xiaogu are going to get close. Doinby's coming in. Uzi's coming in. V's coming in. And they are going to get out alive. Reckless takes that Lantern. Spirit flashes out of the danger. Xiaogu finally relinquished their power, their grasp on the Dragon. But back in that team fight, Reckless's positioning, he QS'd there, splashed out, was on next to no health. There was about 100, 200 hit points, would have been taken down easily, but they had that little choke point around the Gromp that Uzi just couldn't get into him. He couldn't get the damage down, and it was almost ineffective for a moment until he decided to dive in.
Super, super close fights, and we're going to get more of those. And Fnatic are still in their position. They can't lose a fight. They will lose the entire base. Obviously, we can almost say the same for QG at this point because outer turrets are gone. So it's just tier 2 towers, and with the super long death timers, so little you can do. And that's also why it's so tense between the teams. No one wants to make that super aggressive play unless they really have to. Around the Baron, around the Dragon.
They've left the tier 2 exposed here. Swift doing a good job at completely zoning them away from it. They're going to get some free damage down when that minion wave comes in. Gamsu had TP'd back, recalled back to base, so he does come back from the base entrance, and Reckless, of course, will clear it out and build up that big meaty shield, finally, with that Bloodthirster.
And it's fun how both teams have abilities to dive onto each other. But if you are a Fnatic, you most likely want to just focus on trying to kite back, survive the Z ulti when it comes in, the damage he can deal, QSS or Hourglass it, and then try and take him down or force him to jump back. The same with Echo. Echo is going to dive backline, jump back with his ulti. So like you have two champions diving in, dealing damage onto Reckless and Febiven, and then jumping out again. But when you have like this double AD carry comp, a Thresh as well, you don't want to put Thresh really in your front line. He's not tanky enough. He kites back, he peels, trying to land on someone out. So Fnatic is just about surviving that engage that happens, force them to ulti back defensively, and then you can turn it around. Also, Kalista does well in these longer fights, where a Lucian is so good at jumping in, dealing instant burst damage, and trying to take down a target.
They're also trying to catch me out with the QSSs and Zhonyas. They're just trying to throw in everything in there. Every little bit disparity to get out. Everybody's going to have flashback available before they go into this next fight. They're all just about coming off cooldowns here, there, and everywhere. But Gamsu, good little catch for him.
So ZZ Rod as an item is very good on tanks when you are split pushing. I just don't like it when you're against AD carries like Graves, because it's too easy for him to take down the ZZ Rod and also the Voidlings. He doesn't really get pressured by it. I'd rather see you just go full on team fight. So like a Spirit Visage instead would have given you more HP. Swift.
Caught out, good hook from Clyde there, finally delivers, but they're going to turn the attention back onto Clyde there, has to tank out the damage, Moore gets the ulti down, Reckless all caught out, manages to flash out, but Clyde's in trouble, he will get taken down, they dive on towards Reckless, he can't get away from that much aggression, Swift's going to get caught out, it's a 3-for-0, and make it 4 because Gamsu decides to join the party round the back, not entirely sure why, he's going to try and run them on a merry dance, try and lead them away, just delay things, while Febiven tries to keep them off this turret, simple control right now. That exhaust is not going to help out. Uzi's going to jump in this one. Zhonyas is not going to save him. Uzi is godlike. What a performance from him. 7-0-4. And that may well have just gifted half the base to Xiaogu Reapers.
And trying to go late game against QG, I mean, you're playing right into their super, super strong late game fights. Great engage. They tried to catch Swift, didn't happen, and now they're just finishing the game. That's how fast it goes.
Fnatic, they played it so delicately. They went looking for the fight, and Xiaogu met them on the battlefield. It will be the Chinese team meeting SK Telecom T1. The battle will reignite itself once again between Uzi and Faker. Will he get revenge? That will be the next match. We will find out. But as for Fnatic,